Creating Your Own Job, aimed at providing you with resources and assistance to start your own business. Focusing on customer benefits, analyzing the marketplace, financial forecasting, financial assistance, creating your own job.
Welcome to Creating Your Own Job, a series that features topics and experts to help you start your own business. I'm Bill Hodges, president of Hodges Seminars and a volunteer host with Tampa Bay Community Network, a community public access media center providing the video production training and services, the place where you can produce your own TV show on cable TV and the internet. Today we're talking about tips for success. With me are Stephanie Savetic, Economic Development Manager, Hillsborough County, Bill Jackson, Professor and Director of Sustainable Entrepreneurship and Innovation Alliance at USF St. Petersburg, and Susie Steiner, Organizer and Global Facilitator of Startup Weekend and CEO of Executrans Services. Wow, what a distinguished group of people. I'm so happy you could be with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting us.
Stephanie, let's first start with you. Can you give me just a little overview of what your organization does and what people who are looking to build their own business could come to you and get help with?
Sure. So I'm here today to talk about our new Economic Development Innovation Initiative. It's also known as EDI2. It's a program that has been developed by Hillsborough County to help drive the growth of technology and innovation startups and small businesses in Hillsborough County. The program is providing funding to organizations who are putting on events in Hillsborough County that are of benefit to entrepreneurs and to startups. And it's also providing funding to organizations who are creating programs to benefit these startup companies. Programs such as incubators, accelerators, mentorship programs, things where the entrepreneur is really able to have a takeaway. So we are, really encourage the entrepreneurship community to really attend events that are happening around town, to reach out to organizations who are creating these programs, because there really are some great resources out there right now.
Want to come back to you on that. Bill, let's talk. You're not in our county. You're over in
St. Petersburg, but still a part of Tampa Bay, and
we are a region.
That's right. And one of the things that we're very proud of as being a program that reaches out all the way across to Tampa Bay. But yes, I'm at USF St. Petersburg, and we're probably best known, I guess, for having the second major in entrepreneurship at state universities in Florida, as well as, and we're very proud of being recognized as the emerging entrepreneurship program in the U.S. This last year. But we prefer to be known as an organization that helps reach out across Tampa Bay, not only with bringing our university out to the community, but the community to the university, as well as our students.
I so agree with you, and I want to go back and touch on that too, because we really have to think of ourselves not colloquially as Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sun City Center, Ruskin, but rather as Tampa Bay, or we're not going to succeed.
Absolutely. And
another lady bringing us something that's going to be very good is Susan Steiner.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I do a multitude of things, but I'd like to talk about Startup Weekend Tampa Bay. And as you were saying, we don't consider ourselves just Tampa. We actually had our last event at St. Pete, University of St. Pete. And Startup Weekend is a global network of leaders, entrepreneurs, with a mission of basically we want to empower entrepreneurs. We do that by providing a weekend event. Friday, attendees come together, they pitch ideas, and then Saturday and Sunday, they're working on those ideas to actually launch a startup. And on Sunday afternoon, when these ideas are pitched, they pitch to a panel of experts in the community, and we have a top 3 teams that win, but we continue to foster and mentor these teams throughout the year.
Wow, sounds like one of those TV shows or reality shows where you come in and pitch your program.
Exactly. Basically, that's what we do over a weekend.
Wow. You know, Hillsborough County, I think, has been very big on entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I know that I'm on Facebook with several of the county commissioners, and Mark Sharp especially is really constantly pitching something to do with entrepreneurship and incubator programs and things like that.
He's really a champion for this. I want to call it a movement, and it's really exciting that we have cheerleaders like that in our corner.
Absolutely.
One thing that's exciting that we do as well as just very conversational, like today, is most Fridays there's a tech talk at a coffee shop near downtown Tampa called Buddy Brew. And the Hillsborough County TV films it. They're on YouTube. So hopefully, like when we talk about not being compartmentalized, but this way, by posting them on YouTube, by posting these conversations, hopefully people from across the Bay Area, as well as from across the country, are able to see the great things that are happening with entrepreneurship here.
Yeah, Mark started that a long time ago. Now he's been doing that, I don't know how many years actually.
And now it's really evolved into, with the filming of it, the filming of the program that we do, the conversation, and the number of people that we see coming to the coffee shop on Friday mornings. It's really incredible. It's not just, you know, government officials, but it's entrepreneurs coming from the universities, coming to have those conversations and to try to create those synergies.
What I'd like to get from the three of you is some tips. Some overall tips. What are some of the things maybe entrepreneurs do wrong? What are some of the things that they need to know to do right? For instance, I believe very strongly in the 80-20 rule. I mean, that goes back into Greek history.
Well, there's one thing that we say at Startup Weekend, and it's no talk, all action. So we absolutely encourage, we get a lot of entrepreneurs who are, I don't know how to start my own business. I don't know what to do. And do it. Just do something. Just take
Nike
that step.
Campaign.
Absolutely. Just
Do it.
do something and get it going. And then, of course, we always are referring them to the colleges and the different organizations that can help them.
So create inertia.
Absolutely.
Get started on something.
You
anyway.
have to get started,
Get
on,
started
something.
on something.
I see so many people just constantly talking about, I have this idea, I wanted to start this business, and I said, if you don't do something in 5 years, someone else will already do it, but in 5 years you will be saying, I really want to do this. And time passes us very quickly. You just have to get it started.
Have to admit that I had an idea that I wanted to do. I thought it was a great idea, and somebody else did it, made $13 million off of it.
Sure. It's
And I still
every
think it was
day.
a great idea, and so did somebody else.
Absolutely. And it's not about the idea, it's really about it's taking advantage of opportunities and making it happen.
So what else are we looking at?
You know, my favorite one is, and it sounds somewhat academic, but I really think it's very practical, is that we are a society of solvers. And we always think we have a solution. But I try to encourage anyone thinking about going into business to make sure first that there's a problem or a need out there, and simultaneously make sure there are enough people with that problem or that need that it will allow them to have a successful business.
Create an income
Right.
stream.
Yeah, instead of starting with a solution, because there's always going to be more than one solution to any problem.
And that's definitely the basis, absolutely.
You know, and I would just really encourage the entrepreneurs out there to events like Startup Weekend. There are so many that are happening in our community on both sides of the bay, and to have conversations with people like yourself who are starting a company, have conversations with entrepreneurs who are successful, who have been there and done that. There's so much to learn from the people that are in our community that have started companies here and that have stayed here.
Right.
So to have those conversations and just to learn and absorb as much as possible.
I can't overstate how much you've influenced some of our students coming in from USF St. Pete.
I appreciate that.
Going
That's
through
what
that program.
That's what we aim to do. Like I just know personally myself that I always knew that I didn't really want to work for someone else, but I wasn't exactly sure that it was entrepreneurship. And it turned out that way. And there are so many students that feel the same way. So we love getting in the universities and encouraging them. And just one of my favorite things.
That's the question I'd like to throw out to all three of you, along with tips and tricks, is should everybody be an entrepreneur? Is everybody cut out to run their own business?
No.
No.
No. No.
It's not for the weak of heart.
No.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
And it's certainly something that if you don't have the passion and the inclination, no matter how many skills we may teach at the university level in our outreach programs, that individual's not going to be successful unless they have that.
And I think passion is a tip. It's just a tip. You have to be passionate about a business because you will live, eat, and breathe that business. And I kind of got into a business that I would not have chosen to get into, and I wasn't passionate about it. And I'm thankful because it got me to where I am now. But now I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm passionate about Startup Weekend.
I'm 34 years into running Hodges Seminars International. And I learned very quickly that it was really neat because you only had to work half days. And it didn't really matter which 12 hours.
Right.
So you really do have to be passionate, correct?
Sure.
And the people passing out money, Stephanie, they're going to expect you to be passionate. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like you spoke about Commissioner Sharp. I mean, we at Hillsborough County are so excited and passionate to finally be able to be out there and out the door and be able to assist this community. I mean, we are driving around town telling people about our program, and that's 100% passionate about entrepreneurship and innovation right here in Tampa Bay.
People don't realize you're running your own business no matter where you work. Isn't that correct? You take responsibility for your job and you get paid for your results. Not for the time you put in, but for your results.
That's how it should be, yes. And I'm sure you find that with entrepreneurship students. You don't necessarily have to own a business, but take what you just said into your job and your career, and you're helping them succeed.
Yeah, I would say we are just as successful with our students that come out with the idea of being entrepreneurial in an existing entrepreneurial firm, as we are those that are the exceptions that are prepared at the moment they graduate to do that. So, we think that developing a pipeline of that type of thinking, creative problem solving, opportunity recognition is absolutely critical.
That's
for our
another
students.
tip, problem solving. You have to be a problem solver in business.
I once knew a boss that called all of his top people in and said, "You're taking a 10% cut." And the people looked at him and said, "Why?" He said, "Because you keep coming in here asking me to solve problems. If I'm going to do 10% of your job, I'm taking 10% of your pay. When you start coming in here with answers instead of questions, you'll get your money back."
I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it changed rather rapidly. What do you see the successful student doing or the successful entrepreneur doing? What are they doing that makes them successful versus the, if you will, the wheat that gets thrown off onto the grass and the wheat that gets thrown off onto the rocks?
Yeah.
One grows, the other doesn't.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
It's very interesting that you asked that, and I can see the change from the first semester that our program came into existence 2 years ago, where the students said, "Oh boy, entrepreneurship, I'll just go into that program," thinking, well, it's not an academic program. We don't have to do work. It's all about having fun. We take our program seriously, and the skill sets that we try to invoke in them do require them to be as committed in that program as they're going to have to be if they want to be an entrepreneur once they get out. So I think giving them some skills, beginning with creative problem solving, which is really at the foundation of our curriculum there. And that's a skill set that I would recommend for all entrepreneurs. And there are ways of not just guessing and figuring out problems. And so our students being able to do that, I think, is the first step for them.
I really think you're right. You know, a lot of people, the university I taught up in Ohio at,
Yeah.
the first thing that we found out from the businesses around us, they asked them, what was the most important thing you could teach a student? You're not going to believe this. It was to show up in class on time and actually show up in class. And an entrepreneur, you have to be aware of time, isn't that right?
But, you know, entrepreneurial students we're finding are very similar to maybe entrepreneurs there out in the real world, is that they're so divided on where their attention is. And one of the things that we try to do is exactly that, focus them to be a part of that skill building in the curriculum.
What can the average entrepreneur, somebody who thinks they've got a business, what can they do by coming to you? Where are you going to send them? If I got an idea, I'd really like to do something, where would I go, Stephanie, to get assistance from your organization?
Sure. So the EDI2 program is not designed to fund individual companies. As many would see, that's not the role of government. But what we are doing is,
although we do that pretty well with the major accounting firms and those people, we've given GM a lot of money. So.
Right. But it's been wonderful being a part of these conversations, being out in the community, meeting individuals like Bill, like Susie, and directing them to people, my colleagues who have been there and who have done that. We've created an infographic that lives on the program's website, which is hillsborocounty.org/EDI2. And it takes you to the page. There is an infographic that is a suggestion of some resources. It's not by any means an endorsement of things that are in the community, but it's just things that we have seen and come across. People can look there. And also on this website that I just pointed out, that's also where these organizations who are helping the entrepreneurs directly can go, find the applications and submit them to us so we can help get some dollars out the door.
Okay, so organizations like yours can benefit from organizations like yours.
Absolutely.
I actually have gone to the website, downloaded a lot of the literature, and we provide it on our website as well. So I now know that if there are organizations looking for funding, I'm sending them her way.
And that's one of the things I'm most excited about, what I'm seeing in the Tampa Bay area today, is that I think this community is understanding that we all have to be a part of building that ecosystem and removing jealousies and turf and silos is all a part of that. And I'm seeing organizations like this connecting with others and fostering that is pretty exciting to me.
Yeah, I live out in Sun City Center, and I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't care whether Tampa has a transportation system or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, I rarely hear somebody saying I'm flying to Sun City Center. You know, they're flying to Tampa. And it's the same with our relationship with Pinellas County and those around us. See all of you working together, to me, is very exciting.
Sure.
I also think it's really exciting too to see, the nonprofit organizations, the university systems, government, private companies. I think seeing all of us at the table is a really encouraging and exciting element that I don't know if it has always been here, but I definitely see it now.
What about age as entrepreneurs? I'm seeing a lot of really quality people, and it's a shame, be laid off from companies and organizations with tremendous skill and tremendous knowledge. Are they coming into this entrepreneur program?
At Startup Weekend, our most recent one, the winning team was a 14-year-old boy, and we had two teams that consisted of a gentleman who was in his late 60s, and 2 ladies, one in her late 40s and one in her 50s. So we're definitely seeing it, whereas before we were seeing students, 20-something-year-olds, but now we're actually trying to reach out to more of the community that may have lost their job, that may not be, maybe they have a skill that they say, hey, I could do this.
And I think the skill sets that both the youth and those with more seasoning coming together, and a lot of the organizations here have been fostering those connections.
Right, they work very well together.
And I'm actually, we're excited. We're participating in an event. I believe it's taking place in early September, being hosted by a technology organization here in Tampa Bay that is putting on an expo geared at veterans who are looking to entrepreneurship when they leave the military, which I just thought was a really an exciting thing as well.
You know, I have to say, Stephanie, as I watch you talk about this program, you just light up. You really do. Your eyes light up, you get a big smile, and you lean forward, and you get into it. And that's what we need, isn't it?
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
what we need, people who are excited. You know, you look back and you think of some of the people, Colonel Sanders as an example. He was 65 years old and really washed up when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken.
And he had been told hundreds of times no.
He was fired from the railroad. He was almost put in jail for kidnapping his own children. I mean, this guy had a really bad career. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, especially for those of you who want to be an entrepreneur, who want to go into something new, right?
Absolutely.
And even though all of us work in that area, I'm sure y'all have connected with Encore that has a specific mission of doing that, and very active in the community as well.
One of the things, I'm on Facebook, and I did one of these other shows for veterans, and one of the questions I got back to me on it from a number of people, and they were really interested, we had a long string, was, where do I find someone to mentor me? I'll throw that out to the 3 of you. Where do I find? I've got an idea, I've got a thought, I'd really like to do something, but how do I find someone to mentor me?
Well, I think there are numerous places to find mentors. I mean, you can just bump into somebody in random conversation and find a commonality, but I think if you're looking for a specific place to go, depending on the type of company that you have, there are varying resources. There's business
Tampa Bay Wave.
The Tampa Bay Wave, the Tampa Bay Innovation Center. Now, while you may, not need a physical presence at their facility, they would be able to connect you to a mentor, to resources that are geared towards, your focus. If we think of other businesses that may not be as technology focused, the Hillsborough County has a Small Business Information Center, our SBIC, and let's say you need assistance with business planning, or you need assistance in taxes, the legal structure of your company can help on that side of it, not just on the idea side. So
it's amazing. It was one of the resources I went to when I started my business.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So actually, if they called any one of you, you could give them a list of places to go, and your numbers and your websites and all that are posted. So you're there, like being in the post office. You're there.
And
at Startup Weekend, we absolutely do that. We try to put entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs in touch with local mentors, and it could be Bill, it could be Stephanie, it could be anyone that we think is a good match for them.
And I think one thing that's so encouraging in our community that I feel is continuing to be one of our strengths is that if you give us a call and I can't directly help you, we all know the community is it's a smaller community, so we know each other well, and I feel we all have the same end goal here. So we want these entrepreneurs to succeed. So send them over to Bill, send them to Susie, and if Susie doesn't know, she's going to know somebody I don't, and they hopefully will be able to help.
Exactly.
And even on an informal basis, we have so many outstanding activities in the community about entrepreneurship. Go to those, attend
the
those.
networking events are priceless.
There's tons of
There's
networking
tons,
events.
Something every night.
Absolutely, attend.
Yeah. But very, very helpful.
I live out in Sun City Center. And I'm constantly amazed at the people that are out there. I mean, you run into people who knew this person or that person who invented this or invented that, and it's fabulous. We've got resources here because of the retirees that come in that we really need to make more use of.
We do. We need to be tapping into those retirees. They were former business owners or executives, and they could absolutely help.
Oh, believe me, my wife Phyllis and I serve on committees out there in Sun City Center, and you've got 15 people on a committee, all of which ran their own business at one point or another. It's like herding cats. Because they all have their own, and that's just one of the retirement communities here. In Pinellas County, there's several big areas of retired, and tapping into those, getting the young people and the older people together, to me would be a tremendous. Is there
That
any
is what
group
we
that
need
does
to do.
that?
No, let's do that. We do need to do that. We need more mentors to come out of the woodwork and to work with these entrepreneurs. That is what we need.
You know, so excited, you know, a year ago we co-authored the Tampa Bay 620 plan, which was a call for action in the entrepreneurial community to build an ecosystem here. And I guess we've had over 400 individuals and over 120 companies that have signed into that plan. A lot of those people are there as mentors, is connecting and being.
Wow, now that's great news.
That's a great initiative. One of my favorites.
They have a great list of resources as well. When we talk about where can you go to find resources in the community, it's a great list, again, just compiled by what we know and by what we know that's out there.
Is there one last thing, Stephanie, you'd like to make people aware of?
Well, this program is so exciting. We are ready and ready to really help these entrepreneurs and these startups here in Tampa Bay. So I would just again encourage any entrepreneur, organizations who are helping entrepreneurs to visit the website hillsborocounty.org/EDI2, and not to hesitate to reach out to me with any questions. I would be happy to help.
Bill?
I'd like to give at least one more piece of advice, and it's one of my favorites, and that is when you're competing and figuring out what business you'll be engaged in, don't compete on being the best, compete on being unique. Be focused on what you do, and do that through people.
That's really powerful advice. That is very, very worthwhile. Susie?
Yes, we are having some post-Startup Weekend events where we are teaching lean methodologies and things like that, and I would love entrepreneurs to come to the website, tampabay.startupweekend.org, and just sign up, and we will stay in touch with them about future events.
Social networking. Boy, there's an area we didn't talk about here, but that would be an area that would be very, very important also. And of course, your web material is right as a part of that. I'm sure each one of you are doing the same thing. Stephanie, Bill, Susie, I just can't thank you enough. And there's a lot of great people out there who will benefit. I thank you for being helpful, for your advice, for sharing your knowledge with us. We really appreciate it. And you folks out there watching, take advantage of what these folks are doing. I thank you for being with us.